And here we go.
I knew looking at Fuzda's timer, I knew he had the Blat timer out. I'm so glad to see that.
Same. I'm pretty sure we have !blat in chat as a command, so feel free to spam the crap out of that command if you feel like it. It's gonna be good. We're gonna have a lot of Blat during this race.
All right, so the runners are off. It looks like Sephi has Moonwalk enabled, so he's going to be able to do some moonfalls here at the start and gain a little bit of a lead over Fuzda. And he also has
Also playing.
Moonwalk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
however, misses the moonwalk on the early platform here. Still goes through the bottom right platform there without any problems. Not saving as much time as he could from the moonfall though. And that is pretty much the only time save that he will get from moonfall during this entire race. As he does not... oh, sorry, no, that's one of two only time save of moonfall during this entire race. There's going to be one more pretty tricky coming up after Spore Spawn. But that climb Moonfall is definitely something you want to hit if you play with Moonwalk on.
Yeah, this is one of the rare categories where you actually go and fight Spore Spawn and then go to the area after Spore Spawn where there's just a huge shaft to fall down, and just like at the climb, it saves about 2 seconds or so.
Yeah. Even though I gotta say, I have seen runners, though I don't want to say Fusta is one of them, who have actually just been defeating Spore Spawn and then heading out through the bottom door instead of going all the way to the top and collecting the Spore Spawn supers. So that is a route divergence you can take, saving a little bit of time there on the cost of a super missile pack, which will end up losing you time later on in the run. I can't say exactly the time saved versus the time costs, but it's definitely a route option you can take.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize in advance. We're gonna call these guys Fuzda and Sephi and just completely confuse everyone watching that doesn't know who these two are. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just one of these things that people you know for a very long time change their names. It's getting confusing. I think with Sephi or Antinomy here, especially, has been changing his name so many times. Throughout the time I know him, it's pretty much just one giant blad of letters. So yeah, we got the first mini-boss here coming up, Bomb Teresa. We actually have a little bounty in the tournament for whoever manages to get a BT skip during a tournament race. This is probably the only category where this tournament is not viable to get, as the killing of this mini-boss is mandatory.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So neither of these guys playing on PAL, they won't be going for it. They'll be taking down their first mini-boss here.
Oh, Sephi actually running into BT as he is already dead, leaving with 4 missiles, so it's still good. Andreww with a little bit of a quicker fight here. However, overall, still good fights from both runners.
Sephi getting Alcatraz first try, no surprise there. Oh, and Fuzda accidentally unmorphed a little early and didn't quite get it, but he's up there now.
Yeah, having a little of trouble with that mock ball there. Gonna be going for a slightly different Alcatraz setup than Sephi does, where you are actually able to collect the drop early, which is really nice. Doesn't need it though, but the door bonking setup there really consistent, opposed to the running method, which even if you think you have it, sometimes can still fail.
So what you just saw Sephi do, and now Fuzda's doing, they're actually missiling these pirates rather than just running through them and deboosting off them to go a little quicker. But an important thing about this category is managing your ammo, and especially going into the Spore Spawn section, if you can keep full health or close to full health going into Spore Spawn, it increases the chances of getting missile drops before you get there, which will help taking out the key hunters that you need to kill to open up the door to Spore Spawn.
Yeah, there are 3 key hunters that you need to kill before spore spawn, which will each require 1 missile or a ton of pea shooter shots, which loses a lot of time. You want 3 super missiles for the spore spawn fight for an easy 2-round. So you really need to depend on a missile drop at some point here. And obviously, if you have full health, that vastly increases your chances of getting a missile drop. We saw Sephi getting 1 missile from the waiver here. Fusta only getting health, but since he's at full health now, he's very, very likely to get a missile drop from the Ryu here, or from the Bucks later on that Sephi is going to farm right here, or just jump over. Oh yeah, Sephi already at 4 missiles, doesn't need to farm anymore, honestly. But yeah, Fusta with that 2 missile drop. I'm gonna hopefully get 1 more. And Sephi just being able to run through these key hunters has still 3 super missiles to spare for the spore spawn 2 round. And Fusta only at 2 missiles would definitely like to have 1 missile drop from one of these pirates here. Or just gonna kill it with pea shooter shots, which is just a little bit slower, but still a decent option over having to use a super missile.
Yeah, it's very important to have at least 3 supers for this fight. It makes the 2-round much more manageable. What we just saw Sephi try to do, he shot the first super into spore spawn, but once you shoot something into spore spawn, it starts kind of closing its mouth, and he couldn't quite get that second super shot in there, so getting a 2-round here is going to be a little bit harder for him.
Yeah. Looks like he is going for a 3-round. I think Fusta also missed the second super, so we're more than likely going to have a 3-round for both runners here, if they manage to get a very good 3rd round in. But as you said, as soon as that first particle lands in, as spore spawn is standing still, he is going to close his mouth, and it's honestly kind of a Doppler movement where you try to spam ammo in an optimal manner and moving forward towards the enemy. Sephi here with a very nice 4-round, leaving the fight without collecting the drops, and gonna see if Fusta can follow up on that.
Now pay attention to Sephi's screen on the right real quick. Let's see if he can get this moonfall here.
He gets it.
Very nicely done. That is the most difficult moonfall to execute due to those crumble blocks at the top that respawn very quickly.
Yeah. It's not as simple as just standing on the blocks and then doing a quick turnaround and shooting. You actually have to do a quick fall, so a timed turnaround on the crumble blocks, and then immediately do the moonfall on there, which involves being very close to the ledge, but not too close so that you actually just walk off. Let's see if Fusta can manage to get this. You can see the positioning is really precise, and looks like he missed it. Yeah.
Moonfall, when you get a big moonfall like the shaft here and at the climb, it can cause some weird graphical glitches with the game, so you might notice some tiles look out of place whenever you get a large drop like that.
Yeah, the game is simply not able to load the correct tiles of the ROM data with such a high falling speed anymore. Because obviously you're breaking, with Moonfall, you're breaking the intended max falling speed, so it can't load the graphics quick enough anymore, and if you land like that, it's just going to be, the indexes are just going to be out of shape, which results in loading different tiles of different stages of the room. We see Sephi here going down the red tower, indicating that he is in fact going to do the Varia suit route, as opposed to the gravity route where you would just start off like a new route, going up red tower to the alpha power bombs and then go to the wreck ship.
I want to note also, both of our runners grabbing Charge Beam, which is not an essential item to complete this category, but it can help prevent soft locks at Batwoon if you use up all your ammo without killing Batwoon. And some things might just be easier, like if you use a different crate quick kill method, Charge Beam helps out a lot too.
Oh yeah, and we see Fusta actually also going down red tower, so we're gonna be having a double Varia suit route.
Oh, this is interesting. I don't think I've seen Fusta do this route yet.
Well, besides his Fury tests, yeah, this is something new for me. Another thing you'll notice is that they pick up very little stuff. I think both of the runners actually skip Charge Beam missiles. So they should be at a maximum of 5 missiles right now, which is usually the maximum you would see runners get in an optimal run. And they are also not getting Spacer, which will make for a vastly harder Suitless Meridia coming up, and we're going to get into a little bit more detail once we are there. But that Spacer definitely can save some time if you're not comfortable with your Suitless Meridia.
And Seppi with a very nice quick kill on Kraid. He used the 2 missiles, 3 super method. Very nicely done. So as long as Fuzda can get this, the gap between them will still remain pretty small.
Yep. See, Fuzda here really well utilizing the extra supers he got from the Zealous earlier there. Being able to kill most of the space pirates with supers, killing Mini Kraid and still being full on supers. With him now having 4 missiles here, which might be coming handy if he gets bad drops. We see Sephi here actually only with 0 missiles after leaving this this area here.
Fuzda also with the quick kill.
And Sephi
and some
getting
nice drops
very
too.
nice mockball there out of warehouse.
And a nice mouth ball from Seppi too.
So obviously, since you don't need to finish the run, the last thing these runners are going to do is be waiting in the Batoon room, is to collect as little stuff as you actually need and just really progress from objective to objective. And we see that the runners are going to be staying at a very minimum amount both of missiles, supers, and E-tanks. I expect Fuzda to do just the same as Sephi did, which is skipping that Kraid E-tank, which is going to make for a slightly riskier lava dive and lower nullfare, but ultimately you will not need that extra E-tank, unless you make a mistake, which I don't think either of the runners will do here. But generally the idea is really just stay at the minimum you need to traverse through all these areas.
Alright, Sephi's got his high jump boots, so he's ready to move over to Bubble Mountain now. The only item he's going to want to pick up from Bubble Mountain is Speed Booster, which obviously makes you go faster, which is helpful, but it also allows you to escape from GT's room pretty quickly, which is another big reason we want to pick it up for this run.
Yeah, and another major time save is the fact that you can do the B-Tom escape out of Nullfare. So there are like 2 or 3 really major time saves from the speed booster, which ultimately most likely make it end up being worth it, even if you have to do that sidetrack at the start. And another kind of advantage is after speed booster you have this kind of lenient farming station that you can use, since the runners will need to do a Boogie glitch right after getting speed booster. And I think we've actually seen 1 or 2 runners skipping speed booster entirely through the race. But it looks like both runners are going to be collecting it, which makes up for some really cool tech, honestly. We're going to see 2 of the most hyped mock balls in the entire game later on in the Croc area.
So we get a little high five from our runners as Fuzda goes to pick up his speed booster and Seppi returns from getting his.
Yeah, what is he doing? Alright, going for that little extra farm there. So coming up now, Sephi is going to be heading into the Crocomire area, and since he didn't pick up Wave Beam, which is just really, really slow for this kind of run, he will need to traverse a blue gate by opening it up from the other side by shooting a projectile pretty much through the closed gate. Gonna see how long this will take him. There we go, second try. Very nice.
And fortunately, in contrast to the green gates we've seen a lot in this tournament, that blue one you can just use normal missiles on, and you don't have to waste any precious super missiles.
Yeah. Alright, now we're coming up on another kind of major source of RNG during this run. All the RNG sources are really just during the boss fights. Crocomire, Fuzda with a very nice first strike blue glitch here. But what you want to see here on Sephi's screen is as little swipes as possible Do we just want to see Crocomire just continuing to walk backwards without ever swiping his claw, spitting out some of his goo, which is usually costing a little bit of time, but it looks like Sephi is having really good RNG here. Not a single swipe, very, very nice here.
Yeah, you'll notice Sephi, he was using charge beam shots for that fight. You can actually do it a little faster if you mix in missiles and super missiles, but like we said earlier, ammo is pretty important for this category, specifically your super missile count. So using charge shots for this fight is not a bad idea, considering the category.
Yeah. Another interesting thing that honestly kind of surprises me is that Sephi is picking up the Crocomire E-Tank. So he'll be having 3 E-Tanks for the Lava Dive. Considering you only need 1 to do it, and that Sephi is a pretty good player, just goes to show that in these races you really, really want to play it carefully to not just die and lose 15 minutes off the race.
A nice spark from Sephi going through that door. That's going to take him across the room where he'll pick up his first power bomb pack, which will let him pick up the grapple beam pretty easily and also get into Lower Norfair and Meridia.
Yep. Fusta also picking up that 3rd E-Tank. Oh, and getting that nice spark there. Very nicely done. Now, with both of the runners having 3 E-Tanks, which is pretty much the equivalent to 2 or 3 extra attempts on Lava Dive with full health, I would not be surprised if neither of them actually does a safety save before Lava Dive, as the extra E-Tanks pretty much guarantee you these extra attempts.
Yeah, I could see them doing a safety save once they get past Lava Dive before the Green Gate glitch, but at the same time, if they farm up to 10 supers before they go down there, they might feel confident enough with those 10 that they'll get it without running out of ammo.
I agree. 10 supers for the skill level that we're looking at right now is a plenty number of attempts for a Green Gate glitch. We see Sephi here with the best mockball in the game. But yeah, these Green Gate glitch, they are technically frame perfect, but with a nice setup it feels a lot more lenient, and especially if you have 10 attempts for it, you usually have no trouble nailing it.
Ooh, Sephi only having 8 super missiles. He's going though.
Fusta barely missing off on that best mockball in the game. Alright, so we see Sephi now traversing the Acid Snake room with Grapple Beam. Again, then going to be heading into his Lava Dive. Did not safety save as expected. And we're going to see what Fusta's going to do here. Fusta actually going for all 10 supers. Okay, only 9. Got some really bad luck there, actually. So the thing is, both runners will need to do some extra farming off supers during the GT fight anyways. But let's have a look at Sephi's Lava Dive.
Ooh, he tried to do the bounce ball in there, but it looks like he might have got caught on something, so he's just going to have to jump down the rest. And he's timing his jumps very carefully, avoiding all those fireballs, and do 2 wall jumps here. He's
very good.
Very nice.
Yeah, as you saw, he still had 186 health left, so even if he would have fallen down there, he still had that extra attempt. And I'm not sure, did Sephi deactivate Speed Booster at any point?
I didn't see him do it. I don't.
Yeah, because that would explain why he didn't get the bounce ball. Because in lava, if you have Speed Booster on, the bounce ball that Fusta does here right now just straight up doesn't work because all your momentum gets just completely eaten. But beautiful Lava Dive, perfectly executed, very nice.
Now Fusta will pause right here to turn his speed booster back on. Oh, didn't grab the elevator though. If you actually pause the game and then activate an elevator going downwards, you kind of skip a little bit of the animation. I think it saves like 40 frames or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Sephi here with a second try Green Egg glitch, choosing to get a refill here before the GT fight, which is not really necessary. There is a pretty safe spot under GT's feet, which can pretty much get you like a free ride on GT. However, if you get out of sync with the fight and it gets kind of out of control, it can go really badly and you can lose a lot of health there. We see Sephi taking there an initial hit as Fusta gets the Green Egg glitch.
Yeah, third try green gate glitch. That's pretty respectable. Anything within 5 is usually okay with most people.
Oh, an interesting fact here. Fuster going for screw attack before the GT fight. Not gonna be of a lot of use, especially once he hits Meridia, but for this GT fight specifically, it's gonna make it a lot safer. And since he did not go for the refill, it's pretty much of an equivalent of what Sephi did and what Fuster did in terms of safety for GT.
And you'll see Fuzda, he's going down into Morph Ball when he wants to turn around. This actually keeps Samus from moving over to the left a little bit during her turnaround, and so when GT starts throwing those supers back at Samus, if one gets a little bit close to her, it shouldn't hit Fuzda since he went in Morph Ball in order to turn around without really moving.
Yeah, there are actually the space where you can crawl in front of GT and not get hit by any of his X is really lenient. You have a lot of space for that. But the space you have to crawl without getting hit by the super he throws it back at you is way slimmer. It's really precise to do. So both of them kind of nailing that spot here, playing around with it. Sephi getting a nice spark out of GT, making good use of that speed booster, saving a lot of time of not picking it up. And Fuster is also done with GT. Getting usually bad drops from Golden Teresa, as expected.
Alright, and kind of an unusual thing about this category that you really don't even see anywhere else is the runners are going to be exiting Lower Norfair the way that they came.
Yeah, this reverse lava dive you actually only see in 2 categories, which is Miniboss RTA and Rambo. Funny enough, Fuster being the one who invented Rambo, so he is pretty familiar with that. It's definitely not close to be as hard as the normal lava dive, but it's still pretty unusual if you're not used to it.
Alright, so if you've been keeping track at home, we have defeated every single mini-boss except Batwoon, but these guys do not have gravity suit, so they're going to have to be doing a little bit of suitless Meridia here, just up to where Batwoon is at, and this could potentially cause a lot of time save or gain for either of the runners if they slip up somewhere here.
Yeah, there are these 1 or 2 spots in suitless Meridia that can really give you a hard time if certain hitboxes or some of your controls don't want to cooperate as you want it to do. We see Sephi there actually spending quite a bit of time on farming up to full health and almost full supers. Gonna see Fuster doing the same here. Not quite too full though, is satisfied with full health and 10 supers.
Alright, Sephi picking up his Ice Beam. This is kind of the 3 main things you need for Suitless Meridia, or at least to do it quickly. You're going to want Ice Beam so you can freeze the crabs and the fish in order to climb on top of them. You're going to want High Jump Boots in order to increase your jump height. And you're also going to want Grappling Beam in order to cross Mount Everest pretty quickly.
Yeah. Sephi here with an Ice Escape, saving himself a little bit of time getting out of this section here. And now, while Fuster's just leaving Norfair, pay special attention to Sephi's screen. He's going to blow up the glass tube and perform a gravity jump here, which will allow him to skip, not only to save a decent amount of time, but also to skip a certain instance of suitless Main Street here.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to pull off, especially in this category when the only other beam you have is ice. Normally, if you do this in like RBO, you'll have spacer like wave beam here, so you can freeze stuff more quickly. But you'll see he selected supers before the door transition, or not supers, missiles. He's gonna use a couple missiles just to damage this fish down, so he can freeze it quickly, and he manages to pull it off. Very nicely
Very
done.
nice. Yeah, freezing that fish would require 11 normal ice beam shots, so since you cannot possibly pull off this many shots in such a short amount of time, you really need to compensate some of that with missiles.
Let's
Actually, I'm
see if
sorry.
Fuso can do the same thing.
Yeah, that gravity jump is really the easy part, and that's already not the easiest thing to do. See a lot of RBO players struggle with that, but he also gets it very nice. Sephi freezing that fish at a very unfortunate spot, not going to be able to get on top of that. This is probably the hardest thing of Main Street Suitless, that specific fish. Especially if you get such a fast entrance like Fusa and Sephi did. The fish is still going to be pretty high, because it only moves slower the more time you spend in that room. So getting that fish freeze early and climbing on that with such a fast entrance is really hard. And we see Fusta actually saving quite a bit of time on that jump, getting it first try.
Yep, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Sephi had a little bit of trouble getting up on that last fish, and Fuso was just able to do it very quickly, and now there's hardly a gap in between them. It's like pretty insane right now.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 second difference here. We also have Fusta as like a really experienced RBO runner. Most likely gonna see him, yeah, there we go, skipping some of those grapple blocks. 2 of them actually, doing like a perfect Mount Everest suitless here, pulling ahead of Sephi. Sephi still has the advantage in terms of ammo, so if Fusta will end up missing a few shots, Sephi is better off here, but it's really, really close at this point.
Yeah, Batun is going to take 10 super missiles to take down. If they miss too many super missiles, they're going to either have to make it up with missiles or just do charge shots, which are much slower in comparison and arguably harder to hit than super missiles.
We see both Sephi and Fusta here with the infinite grapple jump. Really neat tech, pretty much allowing you to infinitely jump in air, gaining infinite height out of a grappling jump. Both getting it, now only 1 ice clip away from Batun. Alright. Fusta getting it, Sephi setting up for it. Both of them had really good health, so at this point they really won't have to worry too much about dying to Batun, which is a thing if you don't have Gravity Suit and you're suitless. Alright, this is gonna be pretty interesting. Yeah. Sephi with that extra ammo. Missing 2 shots at the start here, very unfortunate. Oh. Alright. Fusta... Oh, Fusta taking a death there. Has officially forfeited from the race. GG to Fusta. With an amazing run here. Really catching up in the endgame here.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate. That was such a close race up until the end, but Batun, he hits a lot, especially without the gravity suit, and Sephi's drops have come down, so he is finished with an official SRL time of 27:51. GG to Sephi.
GG to Sephi for taking us home. GG to Fusta for putting up such a close race up until the end. That was really fantastic. Great job by both of the runners.
Absolutely.
So yeah, make sure to follow these runners. As you can see, they are pretty much on the top of their game. 27:51 is an absolute top tier time. Like, sub 28 time is really, really, really good. For perspective, the world record is just 25 minutes. Has been 26 minutes for the longest time, so both runners getting such a good time. Gonna call that on Fusta even though he forfeited. Really, really good.
Yeah, looking at the our leaderboards, that's actually gonna put Sephi on 3rd place for Mini Boss RTA, which is very impressive.
Yeah, great job. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we have more races coming up tonight. Not sure, do you have the schedule up?
Yeah, so the next race is going to be our last one for round 4 here. It's going to be Toasty Muffins versus Nin Taylor at 5 p.m. Eastern with Maniacal on commentary. Once that match is over, we'll have everything updated on Challenge, and the matchups for round 5 will be posted immediately. So make sure you look out for that.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone, thanks for watching. Was a pretty hype race, Lowers. I'm glad we got to do this commentary together.
Yes, Punk, that was a blast.
And yeah, everyone have a good day, and I'll see you at 5 p.m. for the next race.
Yep, we will see you next mission.